Shut up and sit down.
We are back, episode 37 of No One Asked Us, coming off a very successful episode 36. We recapped kind of a quick emergency pod of Mike Shildt being fired, our most listened to, most watched show of our existence so far. Very well received on the YouTube for sure. So we appreciate everyone listening. This is episode 37, back to the normal rundown, a little bit of mix of everything. Don't forget to follow us at No One Asked Us Pod on Twitter. I am at Craig W. Choate. He is at the Logan Lee. Give us a follow there. Email us, nooneaskedus2021@gmail.com if you have anything you would like to talk about or discuss. And as always, chapters are in the descriptions for these longer episodes. I'm trying to keep these normal episodes shorter, but if you want to listen to something specific, head to the description. Time codes are right there for you to get to what you want to hear. He is Logan Lee, wearing his bright green today. How you doing, Logan? How was your weekend?
Fantastic, Craig. I'm doing fantastic. It was a good weekend. Got to play host. Had some family up for a couple days. So finally got our house in a non-construction zone form. So it was good to see some people and actually have people stay at our house for the first time in a while. So didn't watch as much football this weekend really as I have in the past due to some of those things. But yeah, it was good. It was a good time. How about you?
You're turning into exciting. You're turning into a true Chip Gaines. I saw that bathroom reno.
Dude, that bathroom project has taken forever. We started that thing in July and we just now got it to a completed state. And Allison won't even tell you it's
out in the back to use while you were.
No, luckily we still have a second bathroom that we've been able to use. Granted, it is tiny and it has been not ideal, but yeah, man, it's been a time. So I'm done with projects for a while. I say that I'm going to knock on wood because, something will inevitably happen and then I'll be dropping more money to fix something else. But yeah, it was a good time. Good weekend with the family.
Next up is a No One Asked Us studio.
I mean, I got a pretty good office set up right now. I'll work on this. I got to get an actual camera, man. Like
I'm still recording or a camera,
man. I'm still recording this on an iPad. So, we'll work our way towards the studio. That might be in the next house down the road, but
homeowner life, man. All right. We're going to back to our normal. Like I said, we got some college football. College basketball starts this week. There are teams playing exhibition games this week. So we're going to start previewing more so the college basketball season. AP poll came out today. KenPom came out last night. Logan has some thoughts on Seth Davis that he would like to express. A little bit of baseball. There was some big baseball in the minor league world that we want to touch on a little bit today. And then if we have time, some TV stuff. Don't know if we'll have time because we are trying to keep these episodes shorter. But we're going to start with Moment of the Week. Logan just said he didn't really have a good one. So I'm going to throw one out there that he might like. Logan, you'll never guess what I watched on TV last night, Sunday night. By the way, it is Monday evening, late afternoon-ish time when we are recording. So this is Sunday night. You will never guess what I watched Sunday night.
I hope it was Mean Girls, but it probably wasn't.
This was sandwiched. This was sandwiched between the 3:30 afternoon football and the Sunday night football. So I think it started at 8:00 Eastern time.
What did you watch?
The rebirth of Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Oh man, I totally forgot about that. I forgot that was happening. Oh man, how was it?
It was cheap.
I'm sure it was. Isn't it on CW or something?
On CW, yeah, cheap budget.
Yeah.
Didn't they? When we were kids, it was my favorite show. That and Guts, I think, were my favorite shows on Nickelodeon. Didn't they have 8 teams? They had a bunch of teams. I think it started with 8.
I just watched a couple of them a few weeks ago. It might have been. I don't remember. But yeah, this
one is adults now. It's no longer kids. It's adults and 4 teams of 2, and someone gets knocked out each round. But yeah, it was cheap. Initially, I was interested, but it was pretty bad overall. The nostalgia was cool. Like, the blue Barracudas, the red Jaguars, the silver Serpents or whatever.
Just watch the original on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Just go back and revisit that. Yeah, I haven't watched it. I, as I said, forgot all about that. So
yeah,
I'll have to check it out for myself. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Nothing you just said surprised me. So
good way to start the show, though, reminiscing on our Nickelodeon days. I like it.
Yeah.
A couple other moment of the weeks that I had written down that just will be really quick, I think. Captain Kirk went to space.
Yes.
Like, what?
Yeah.
I forgot what day of the week it was, but William Shatner went to space with Jeff Bezos, Blue Origin. It was an 11-minute trip. I think they were technically in space for like 3 minutes where they had zero gravity. I watched the whole thing. I don't really care about space travel, but those, like, any kind of launch I'll watch for sure, just because it's so crazy, the technology and how it happens. And this one obviously had William Shatner, but it was cool. He had a lot to say about it, how it changes your perspective and stuff. He's 90 plus now, isn't he? I think he's like 94 or something. So it was just cool. Like Captain Kirk, I've never watched a single episode of Star Trek, but I mean, that's what probably our parents' age people.
Yeah.
That was like the show.
Run, yeah.
So I just thought it was cool. And he had a lot of good things to say about how transformative the experiences was and how everyone should do it. And the whole Bezos versus Elon Musk space race is kind of crazy. But did you watch any of that? Or see that?
I mean, I saw a little bit from it, but I didn't give it too much attention. But I can't hear Jeff Bezos' name anymore without thinking of the Bo Burnham song that's just all over TikTok. In fact, I was singing it this morning, and come on, Jeffrey, you can do it. Pave the way, put your back into it. Come on. You have not spent enough time on TikTok then.
No, I guess not.
Oh my goodness. That's all I can think about every time I hear the man's name. So yeah, that's wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah.
Last thing, we don't talk a lot of NFL on this show, but Aaron Rodgers had a moment on Sunday that was perfection. He scrambled out of the pocket. Bears were coming at him, and they were probably on the. Do you remember the play? Probably on the 15, maybe. They were between the 10 and 15, I think. Pocket collapsed. He escaped, and he ran to the pylon and got in the pylon and kind of slid/fell. And he got up on one knee, brought back the discount double check, first of all, and then all his teammates came and surrounded him. And I don't know the exact quote, but at the end, he just screamed, "I still own you. I still own you." And I just thought that was perfect because after all the offseason drama with him and him possibly retiring and the Bears fans getting all excited, then the Bears getting Justin Fields, for him to come out and just tell them and show them, hey, I'm still here, boys. I'm still here. I loved it. I loved every second of it.
That was certainly a moment. I know Bears fans had a lot to say about that. And I love the person that went into Wikipedia and changed the owner of the Bears to Aaron Rodgers. Those were flying around as well. So yeah, that was certainly a moment. It's been a strange year in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't sit down and watch a ton on Sundays. I will if I'm not doing anything, but just like looking at standings and things, it's just kind of been a strange season. But yeah, the Packers they're for real. I mean, he's clearly not going anywhere. And we learned, if we learned anything the past, few years, especially, is that age is just a number for quarterbacks. So, they can just keep playing as long as they want.
I don't know that he's going to reach Brady level, but
no, probably not. But I mean, if the trend continues, he'll go somewhere else next season and then win a Super Bowl with that team. And, just like the other greats of his generation have.
Yeah. So kind of started with Peyton.
Yeah.
All right. So a couple moment of the weeks there to recap the weekend, I guess. And as we move ahead here to college football, we don't have an Illinois game to recap. So we're just kind of going to recap the college football landscape. That made Saturday much more enjoyable. Wouldn't you think? Not having to worry about watching some crappy Illinois football. The big news, of course, Purdue goes into Iowa City, and they really have no trouble with Iowa. It was 24-7.
That was a weird.
Never really a game.
No.
Did you watch most of it? You texted me during the end, and I wasn't watching.
I had the second half on for a little while, and because there was a moment where I don't know if you saw any of this, but it could have been a major turning point. It was in the third quarter, I think, and Purdue was driving, and I don't remember what the score was. Had the chance to probably go up 4 touchdowns, and got all the way to the 5-yard line, and the guy carrying the ball reached for the pylon.
I did see this.
And so they cut to the break thinking it's a touchdown, but they're reviewing it, whether or not it's a touchdown. And they come out of the break calling it a touchback because he didn't touch the pylon. He threw the ball into the end zone or into the pylon. Yeah. And then Iowa got the ball. And I was, at that point, I fully expected Iowa to get all the momentum back and then drive and then cut into the lead and everything. But that just never happened. It was just all Purdue from the very beginning. Yeah. I mean, listen, I haven't been the highest on Iowa. I mean, I know I put them in the top of my power rankings the past couple weeks or whatever. That's strictly just based on their record and the fact that they did beat Penn State last week. But
yeah,
I don't know. And we'll talk about them more as we get to the power rankings. I mean, I do have a few thoughts towards them, but I just was not expecting that. I mean, Purdue.
Yeah. I mean, was Iowa ranked preseason?
I believe so.
I don't know that. Were they? I don't remember them being ranked preseason.
Maybe not. I don't remember.
So no one really expected this season from them. And they got a couple good wins early against, like you touched on, Iowa State and Indiana. They beat early, but then Iowa State and Indiana aren't as good as people thought. So those wins aren't as good as people thought. So were they really the number 2 team in the country? No. So, and they got exposed, but I wasn't expecting Purdue to be the team to expose them.
No,
especially in Iowa City. So that was quite the shock, especially to the Big Ten. I don't know how much it'll affect the West because I think Iowa probably.
I don't think it'll affect, and that's what I was going to hint at. That's what I was hinting at earlier. Is I don't think. I don't think it'll affect the West at all. I mean, unless they lose again, then maybe. Yeah. Which obviously is certainly on the table. But at this point, I mean, they're still going to most likely play in the Big Ten championship game. And then if they do happen to beat Ohio State or whoever they end up playing, then they're back right in the middle of the mix. So I don't think it's likely, but they're still certainly in the middle of it just because that division is so weak. They'll, they have a pretty good shot to, I would think, finish the season with just that one loss.
Yeah. Iowa, Minnesota, and Purdue each have one loss in the Big Ten West. So technically they're all tied because that's how I look at standings in the loss column. Because I don't know. I think baseball taught me that. So that's all the Big Ten that we'll touch on. Kind of a down week across college football, really. Last week and this week, not a very good slate. Did you happen to stay up and watch Tennessee Ole Miss Saturday night?
No, I saw the stuff the next morning. Some of it at least.
Like I just said, the slate wasn't great last week as far as high profile games, but I saw this one and there were so many storylines. And I was like, that's the game I'm going to watch Saturday night. Tennessee Ole Miss. It's on the SEC network, not even a nationally televised game, SEC network. Lane Kiffin going back to Knoxville for the first time. 2 really good offenses, not good defenses. And it was an awful football game for the most part.
Yeah.
So for those that didn't watch or don't know what happened, Tennessee is down 5 with a little over a minute left, 4th and 17, right about the 50, I think. Maybe just the other side of the 50. Well, they gained 16 and a half yards on that 4th down. They're a half yard short. At least that's what the refs rule. Gets reviewed. Call on the field stands, and immediately trash and garbage just comes raining down from the fans in Knoxville. Mind you, this is their first sellout since 2017, I think. It was their checkerboard game where every other section went white and orange, and it was checkerboard the stadium. So it was an awesome environment. Like, that's what college football is supposed to be. And so many people said that at kickoff. Like, this is what college football is supposed to be. And then this happens. Tennessee's cheerleaders I don't think they're evacuated off the field, but they leave the field. Their dance team leaves the field. The band comes out of the stands onto the field, goes into the tunnel. The Ole Miss players were moved from the sideline to the hash mark to get away. It was insane. Lane Kiffin got hit with a golf ball. Someone threw a golf ball and hit Lane Kiffin in the arm. My first question, why does someone have a golf ball at a football game? Why do you need a golf ball? I think it was like a 24-minute delay. Cops were on the field. Refs come out and are trying to figure out what's going to happen. Is it going to be a forfeit? Do we even finish the game? It was crazy. I was watching this the whole time, like glued to it. Eventually, they come back on the field. Ole Miss has the ball. Tennessee still has all 3 timeouts with a minute left in the game. So Ole Miss runs their 3 plays. Tennessee stops them on all 3. So they get the ball back with like 40 seconds left. They drive down to the 20 on 4th and goal or 4th and 10 from like the 20. Their starting quarterback got hurt. So Joe Milton, former Michigan quarterback, comes in, 4th down, escapes the pocket, runs out of bounds. That's how the game ends. It was the most insane ending of a football game, a college football game, probably, maybe any football game that I've ever seen, because it just would have been so crazy for Tennessee to come back and win that game after everything that their fans did. It was just, I know I probably spent too much time talking about it and recapping it, but for those that didn't watch, go back and watch the last 5 minutes of the game because it was a roller coaster in itself. It was crazy.
Yeah, I did not see any of it live. I saw some the next morning, as I said, but yeah, I don't know what was going on there. That was just a mess. The whole golf ball thing, like that's just why? Why is this happening? And then there's the clip of Lane Kiffin walking off the field and somebody throws something at him and he catches it. Yep. Whatever it was.
Odell Beckham style, one hand. I think it was a water bottle, caught it one-handed. I love Lane Kiffin, man. He is what's the word? He has not reinvigorated. He is made up for his early career fumbles or whatever. And he's reinvented himself. And I think he's back. Speaking of Lane Kiffin, his name is being brought up for the LSU job because LSU goes into Florida. Or no, they host Florida, number 20 Florida. They beat number 20 Florida. And then after the game, it comes out that Coach Ed Orgeron and LSU have agreed to part ways at the end of the season. Not all that surprising.
No.
Just the way that things have gone since he won the national championship. LSU gave up a Hail Mary at the end of the half, and I tweeted, does the O in Coach O stand for overrated? Because I don't know why he keeps getting these big time jobs. No, he didn't win the national championship. I mean, Joe Burrow won the national championship.
He caught lightning in a bottle.
Exactly.
Joe Burrow.
Exactly. I mean, so not surprised that he's out of a job. Kind of surprised at the way it ended. They're mutually agreeing to part ways at the end of the season. So he's still the coach the rest of this year. Again,
which is interesting enough in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know why that's the case. I don't know. There's a lot of layers to that story, I think. But overrated is he probably is overrated. I think I don't think he was ever really qualified to coach at that level. I don't think he's the coach that LSU needs.
Yeah.
LSU wants to be a national power. And I just don't think he's the right job for that. He'll find another head coaching job at a Power 5 school, and he'll be fine. But I just don't think he's a, national powerhouse school kind of coach.
I mean, he's the perfect guy for LSU, though. That's the thing. Like that grasping voice, like "Go Tigers!" Like,
oh yeah,
like that's perfect for LSU. Aaron Bennett replied to that tweet that I said overrated, and he said it stands for one hit wonder. Which that's maybe more appropriate, but yeah, Lane Kiffin has been thrown out for that job because if he can win at LSU with a bunch of leftovers, imagine what he can do, or if he can win at Ole Miss like he is, imagine what he can do at LSU with some backers. Dave Aranda, the Baylor coach, has been thrown out a little bit, so going to be interesting to see which way they go because it's a powerhouse program. You just got to find the right guy. So this week we do have Illinois to talk about. They go to Happy Valley They head to Penn State. That is number 7 Penn State, I believe. Are they 7th? Yes. Number 7 Penn State. The line opened on Sunday at Penn State -17. It very quickly, and I mean very quickly, jumped to 23.5. And you don't see that very often.
No.
So what does that tell you?
I mean, I'm not optimistic about it going into it. So
no,
it's only no.
It tells you that either Vegas doesn't know what they're doing with this or something. I don't know what it tells you, but it's going to be a blowout. That's what it tells you. Couple notes: Mike Epstein out for the year. Brett Bielema was talking earlier Monday, as he does every game week. Mike Epstein out for the year. Jake Hansen will miss an extended period of time, which likely means the season or until the last game of the season. The transfer that they got right before the season started, Alec Bryant, his waiver was denied. Matthew Stevens had that report, so he will not be able to play the rest of this year. He will be eligible in 2022. Brandon Peters is making progress. He has not been cleared yet to play, but still could before Saturday. So we don't know a starting quarterback. I feel like there was one more injury note that I can't remember. I didn't write them down either because honestly, I really don't care. How do you feel heading into this? It's a nationally televised ABC game, noon Eastern against Penn State. Like, it's going to be so bad.
Penn State coming off a bye week after they just lost to Iowa. It'll be awful. It's going to be awful.
Only saving grace, Sean Clifford, I think, is hurt. So their starting quarterback might be out as well, but I don't think it's going to matter. Like, no, even remotely. So not much to say on Illinois football.
Speaking of Illinois football, I think another one of their previous opponents is in the top 25 this week.
Yeah, UTSA.
UTSA.
I think they're 24,
still unbeaten.
25.
He's still unbeaten and put themselves in the top 25s.
I think they finished the year undefeated. I don't think UTSA loses. I think they'll finish the year in the top 15 and go to some crappy bowl because they are UTSA. Yep. Recapping last week's Big Ten scores: Wisconsin wins a close one at home over Army 20-14. Northwestern picks up their first Big Ten win. They beat Rutgers in Evanston 21-7. Minnesota kind of controlled Nebraska. It was all Gophers early. Nebraska made it a game 30-23. Michigan State, a close win at Bloomington over Indiana 20-15. And then, as we said, Purdue beats Iowa 24-7. That leads us into the power rankings. Logan, any movement? I had no movement last week. I got a lot this week.
I got a lot, but I'm not confident in any of it. So
what do you mean confident? It's not like a pick. This is
I
just
know.
What do you think?
It's just
all opinion.
I know it's all opinion, and it's just all wrong. It's just all wrong. But I guess that's the beauty of us doing it every week, is that it's constantly changing. I'm just looking at this now thinking like, I have no idea.
I'm trying.
I have no clue where to put some of these teams right now. So
yeah, I feel you. It's been a while since I've worked with like Excel or like Google Sheets or something. So I'm trying to get like the flow chart of like, all right, Illinois was 14 and then 13 and then 12 and then 5 and then like to see how we do. It's
very difficult to do on Google Sheets. You can do it on Excel pretty easily, but Google Sheets is very difficult.
I'm trying to get that for the end of the year.
I have not been keeping track of mine on a weekly basis, although I know we do have the graphics, so that would be. But yeah, I've tried to do stuff like that before in Google Sheets, and it's very challenging.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Any movement at the bottom? Any change in the salary?
Yeah, I moved just about everybody.
Okay. So Illinois is 14?
Yeah, I moved Illinois down because Northwestern did pick up a win. So, listen, there's a lot of moving and shaking here that I'm not confident in any of it. But yes, I have Illinois now at 14.
As long as you don't have Ohio State 14, I think you're good.
That's the bar?
I kept it the same. I still think Northwestern's the worst Big Ten program or team right now. Not program, because they're a pretty good program. I think Northwestern is the worst team right now. So I left 13 and 14 the same. Illinois is 13.
Didn't they just pick up a win over a team you had quite a bit higher?
They did, but I mean, bad teams can win.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Part of me also just doesn't want to put Illinois at 14.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I have Illinois at 14. Basically because of the Northwestern thing. And to be honest with you, I don't even know where to put Northwestern right now because I do think they're probably 13 or 14. But I moved them up a couple spaces higher than that, which I probably shouldn't have. But I have Rutgers at 13.
Okay.
I have Rutgers at 13. And then I have Northwestern at 12.
Okay. So we have the same bottom three, just different order because I have Rutgers at 12. I dropped Rutgers 2 spots to 12. Man, they really tricked me. I think they were 3-0. I had them all the way up to number 8. And they've really fallen. They're down to number 12 for me. Yeah. Who did you move into number 11?
Indiana. I have Indiana at 11. That was down. I don't remember where I had them last week. But yeah, I have Indiana at 11 now. And I think that's probably where they belong. They have been the team that, after last season, everybody thought, oh, Indiana's turning the corner, and that's just not the case. Yep. So I have them in the 11 spot.
Yeah. Maryland didn't play this week, but I dropped them 3 spots. I don't know how, but I dropped Maryland down to 11. I think they were 8 last week. I think I got this right. I think I had them 8 last week. They didn't even play, but I dropped them down 3 spots to number 11. I've got questions about them. I know they lost a couple of playmakers, and they just haven't been playing as well as they started the year. So that's where I got them. And then Indiana, who you have at 11, I moved them up a couple spots because I thought they played pretty decent. Their defense played really well. We watched because Christy went to Michigan State, so we watched the Michigan State Indiana game, and their defense played pretty well. So I moved Indiana up 2 spots to number 10.
And I have Maryland at 10. Moving down 2 spots, as you said, didn't even play. Still ended up moving them down 2 spots. But yeah, same boat there. So yeah,
9,
Indiana 11 and Maryland 10. I have Purdue at 9, moving up a spot after the big win over Iowa. They're top 25 team right now. We'll see if that continues. I have them up a spot. Could move up even higher. But right now, that's where I have them.
Wow, only 1 spot for that big win?
I wasn't really sure where to put them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just not super confident on some of these things right now. So I just have them up 1 spot, but again, that's fair. They did have a big win, but
you like other teams better. I get it.
I guess.
I dropped Nebraska. I dropped Nebraska from 6 to 9. Nice. 3 spots after they lost at Minnesota. So Nebraska is 9. And speaking of, Minnesota is 8. They move up 1 spot after beating Nebraska at home.
You really shot Purdue up. Okay. I have Nebraska at 8, down 2 spots from where they were last week for me. I think I had them at 6, now at 8.
Yep.
And then I have Minnesota at 7.
Okay.
Moving up a couple spots.
Okay. So
but we're just this is where I should probably have Purdue, but after that, just that one game, I only moved them up to 1, but yes.
We have like the same teams and clumps, just in different orders in those clumps. Because I got Purdue at 7. The jumping up 4 spots, big jump for them. I was down on them. Had them at number 11, bottom 4, but they jump up 4 spots after that win. So I got them at number 7 this week at 4-2, number 25 in the country. Top 6.
Wisconsin.
Yep. Same.
They have been I don't know. I haven't known where to put them all season. They have just been a mess. They've lost to good teams. They've beaten bad teams. I don't really know what that means. But they did get a win over a okay Army team. So I moved them up a spot into the number 6 spot.
I was looking at what the line was for that game. It was 14 points. They won by 6. But a win is a win. But yeah, I have Wisconsin at 6 as well, back to 500 on the season, up 1 spot. What about your top 5? How many changes in your top 5?
I switched my top 2.
Okay. That's it?
I know. Well, again, this is where the Iowa thing comes into play. And we'll get to Iowa in a second. I have Michigan State still at 5. Most of these teams didn't even play last week. Yep. So it was hard. It's hard to really figure this out exactly what to do with them. But I left Michigan State at 5 and Michigan at 4, and I left Penn State at 3. Okay. And the only reason that I still have Iowa over Penn State is because Iowa did beat Penn State 2 weeks ago. So that's really the reason. I mean, Iowa looked awful against a not very good Purdue team. Obviously, they're a little better now than what we thought, but for that reason, just 2 weeks ago they did beat them. So that's the reason I have them in that order. I'm really waiting on things to really start to heat up with some of these other games. Because those teams in the East haven't played each other yet. There's all these unbeaten teams. There's still 4 unbeaten teams in the East, and none of them have played each other. So eventually these things are going to start to shake up a little bit. But as of right now, that's the order that I have them in. So I have Ohio State moving into the 1 spot, Iowa down to the 2, and then Penn State, Michigan, and Michigan State. Okay.
I did leave Michigan State at 5 as well, but I dropped Iowa from 2 to 4.
Fair. They look bad.
They didn't look good. These top 5 teams are so close, like you just said. Like you're not really sure what to do with them. Iowa's start isn't as good as what people thought it was at first. So I just have a hard time bringing them below Penn State because they just beat Penn State.
I mean, that's where I'm at with the whole thing.
That's the dilemma. So
do I think Iowa is better than those teams? No, I don't. But
yeah. Yep.
That's where we're at. So
I got you. Iowa at 4, which everything else is the same. So Michigan and Penn State just bump up 1. Penn State 2, Michigan 3, and Ohio State remains at number 1. I don't think I moved Ohio State from 1 the entire season. I don't think.
Probably not. I did. So after they lost.
You did. But. Yeah, you did. All right, there we go. There is our Big Ten Power Rankings. Does the loss knock Iowa out of your college football playoff tiers? Does it drop them down a tier?
It drops. Well, I'm debating that. And I was thinking about that when I was doing it yesterday. I didn't drop them down a tier because of the reason I mentioned earlier, because I think they have still have a pretty good shot to be playing in the Big Ten championship game. Yeah. And if they win that game, they got a good shot to be playing for the national title. Or playing for the playoff. So that's the only reason I didn't. But they're at this point now just 1 loss away from being done altogether. Yep. But I didn't change any of the front runners. I left that tier the same. Even with Iowa's loss. Not a lot of schools dropped it. Arizona State, Boston College were really the only 2 teams that picked up a second loss to really take them out of the mix. Yep. Again, 2 teams that really weren't in the picture to begin with, but just in terms of their record and everything, they were really the only 2 that fell out. Let's see what else happened this week. We talked about Kentucky lost to Georgia, so they fell. That's really about it. Yeah, I mean that's kind of Iowa. I mean, as I said, I still have them in that top tier, but there's obviously some caveats there. But they're not the only 1-loss team that I have in that tier. So, I mean, Alabama is 1 loss away from falling out altogether. Ohio State's 1 loss away from falling out altogether. Penn State's 1 loss away from falling out. Will those teams lose again? I don't know. But that's just kind of where we're at right now. So I do still have Iowa in that tier, but we still have the 4 unbeatens that are up there: Georgia, Cincinnati, Oklahoma, Michigan. Then you have Alabama, Iowa, Penn State, and Ohio State that I think are right there as well, followed by Michigan State, Oklahoma State, and Wake Forest, who all still don't have a loss either.
Yeah. So, yeah, what Iowa didn't knock them out. It just gave them no room for error.
No. No. They have 0 room for error, and
that's what happens when you lose a game.
I don't think they have a lot of confidence from the national media, the people that are going to be picking these type of things in the committee. I don't know. The ranking thing came out. Did that come out today? Have they started doing the?
I haven't seen any playoff rankings.
But I'm sure they'll.
As is our luck, it probably comes out tonight, so we won't have it on the show.
Probably. So, but yeah, that's where we are in terms of the.
Iowa was ranked 18th preseason.
Okay, so I was thinking they were in the top 25. Yeah,
they were ranked. So, All right. Trucking on here. We should be getting those playoff rankings out pretty soon, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty soon. Picks of the week. Logan, you are increasing your lead. Weekly, you are increasing. I had a below 500 week.
It's good to be me.
I think the first time either of us has had a below 500 week. I went 4-6 last week, 1-4 in the Big Ten. Wait, that can't be right. That can't be right. Is that right?
That's what you put down.
Is that right? That can't be right. Wisconsin, who else played? I missed Iowa. I missed Purdue. I missed Minnesota, Nebraska. I missed that's right. I missed Rutgers, Northwestern, and then I missed Indiana, Michigan State. Yeah, that's right.
Correct.
All right, I went 3-2 nationally, 1-4 in the Big Ten for a 4-6 week. We both had the same national picks last week. Yeah. So Logan also went 3-2 nationally and 3-2 in the Big Ten for a 6-4 week. So Logan now leads. He's 81-27. I am 73-35.
What do I get if
in
I
the
win?
books for you? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You get pride. You get.
That's a shame. I lost that years ago.
We normally start with SIU, but they are on a bye. They squeaked out a win last week against North Dakota. Logan texted me at the end of the Iowa game.
Yeah, I was watching Iowa. I kind of forgot about Southern, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you were and all you texted me was, I think it was like, Welp. And I was like, oh no, he's watching SIU. My stream's behind. What happened? Because it was a close game. North Dakota had like the ball with a chance to win. I was like, oh no, he's ahead of me on the stream. What happened? But luckily we were not watching the same game. So
yeah.
No SIU game to pick this week. So we're jumping right into the FBS games in the ACC. Clemson. I watched their game Friday night at Syracuse. They snuck out a win over the Orange. They head to Pittsburgh, who is now ranked number 23. Clemson's 4-2, Pittsburgh 5-1, 3:30 Eastern time on ESPN. Who you got? Dabo and Tigers, or I don't even know who Pittsburgh's coach is, and Panthers.
I'm going to go with Clemson. They're not the Clemson of years past. But I don't really have a lot of confidence in Pittsburgh, and I'm just going to take Clemson on the road. So we'll go with that.
Clemson was a school that I figured we'd have on picks of the week routinely every week, but I don't think we picked them since week one when they got trounced. They didn't even get trounced by Georgia. That was a terrible game. I'm going to go with Pitt. I just think they're playing better. I don't think Clemson is playing very well. And I think Pitt has some players. I don't know a single one of their names, but everyone on ESPN likes them. So I'm going to take Pitt.
That means they're going to lose.
Yeah, probably. Moving to the Big 12, Oklahoma State is a top 10 football team. They're number 8. Shout out Hunter Woodard, Tuscola alumni. They are 6-0. They are at Iowa State, who a lot of people thought Iowa State would be in college football playoff contention in the preseason. They are now 4-2. That's also a 3:30 game on Fox. Cyclones or Cowboys?
I'm going to take another road team, taking Oklahoma State. I think they're going to continue their run here. Don't think they finish the season undefeated, but I think they pick up their 7th win this week.
Yeah, I think I'm going to rock with that too. I want to pick Iowa State, but Oklahoma State looked really good. I watched some of that game against Texas, second half of that game. They look pretty good, so I'm going to take the Cowboys as well. I think I've picked against them twice, and they've obviously won both times. So let's see if we can switch it up. In the Pac-12, Oregon, number 10, they're 5-1 at UCLA, who is 5-2. Another 3:30 kickoff, a good 3:30 window this week. This one on ABC, following Illinois at Penn State. Ducks or Chip Kelly? Do it.
I'm going to. I think this is the game that takes Oregon out of contention for the playoff. I think this. I'm taking Chip Kelly and UCLA.
Okay.
I am at home.
I'm going to take Oregon. I don't think they lose again. They did not look great Friday night. They squeaked by Cal, who is not very good, I don't think. But I'm gonna roll with the Ducks. They're They know that they can't screw up or else their playoff hopes are done. So I'm going to say they get revenge on Chip Kelly, not the other way around.
Okay. Quack, quack.
Another Pac-12 team, USC, heading to Logan Lee's neck of the woods to face the Fighting Irish, number 13 Notre Dame. USC is 3-3, so this might not be a good game, but it's a pretty good rivalry game in college football. So let's get it in the show here. USC or Notre Dame, 7:30 Eastern time on NBC.
If you're not going to the game or to the tailgate, this is a good weekend to get out of town in South Bend, which is what I'm doing. I'm going to take Notre Dame. Notre Dame. They're coming off a bye week, and I think that they're not a playoff team this year, but I think they will. I think they'll be fine getting past USC. I will say though, a couple years ago, I was driving for Uber, and this was a weekend that I made a good amount of money. USC weekend. Yeah. USC weekend was definitely was a profitable time for me. Yeah. But yeah, Notre Dame at home.
I'm going Notre Dame as well. USC is in shambles and will be, I think, for a while until they figure out who they want to coach them and if they're a good coach. So give me Notre Dame. And then I have an either or option here. Logan, you pick which one we pick. I don't know which one, or we can pick both.
My dad is going to be mad that you keep skipping over the belt.
A&M has the belt. They crushed Mizzou last week.
I know.
I don't even know who they play this week.
South Carolina. Let's pick
So A&M's going to keep the belt again.
Yeah, it's going to end up with some crappy team and some
the top or bottom option.
Let's go with the top option. Ole Miss and LSU.
Yeah, top option. LSU, we talked about him off the top of the show a little bit. Ed Ogeron, what's the phrase when someone is getting fired at the end of lame duck head coach, Ed Ogeron at Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, who we just talked about. So a lot of storylines here. Once again, LSU 4-3, Ole Miss number 12 at 5-1, another 3:30 game. This is a CBS game. Who are you taking?
I think Lane Kiffin's going to pad his resume to take over that LSU job. Yep. I'm going to take Ole Miss at home.
I am as well. I don't know what to think of Ole Miss. I've watched a couple of their games already this year. They either put up 60 points or they put up 25 and their defense actually plays well. It's so hit or miss with them, but I'm going Ole Miss as well. So there's our 5 national games. We got 5 Big Ten games again. And again, not a very good slate. A couple unranked teams here, Maryland at Minnesota, both 4-2, 3:30 on ESPN2. Gophers or Terps? Yep.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
Minnesota
as well. Yeah, I'll take Minnesota as well. I don't know that they figured things out per se, but I think they've figured more out than Maryland has. So give me Minnesota. Purdue, freshly in the top 25 at number 25, hosts Wisconsin. This could be a pretty good game. Wisconsin 3-3, Purdue 4-2, 3:00 on Big Ten Network.
What's the spread on this?
Normally I have this pulled up and I didn't today. And
I'm just curious. I haven't looked.
Right now, as we speak on this Monday night, it is Wisconsin -3.
Interesting.
On the road.
I'm taking Wisconsin. I'm still more confident. I get it. I saw what Purdue did to Iowa. I'm not buying it. I think Wisconsin eventually will kind of get some of their stuff together, and I think it might start this week. So I'm going to take Wisconsin.
Yeah, I need to catch you. I was hoping you might take the home team and the ranked team here. But I'm going to stick to my guns. I've been trying to go against you sometimes, and it's costing me a couple games here. So I'm going to take Wisconsin as well on the road to beat Purdue.
Are you saying that I'm picking am I picking too many favorites? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
A little bit.
It's not making it exciting for you. I'm not taking too many chances.
I'm taking more chances than you. We'll just say that. Northwestern, fresh off of their first Big Ten win, hits the road at Michigan. This line is 21.5 in favor of Michigan in Ann Arbor. Any chance here for Northwestern?
Would you like for me to take a chance here?
You don't have to take a chance here. This one's You don't need to take a chance here.
I'm not taking a chance here. Michigan.
Yeah. Big Blue moves to 7-0. I think they win it pretty handily. Ohio State, number 5, hits the road. They're 5-1 at Indiana. So a couple big marquee matchups at home for Indiana in back-to-back weeks. They're 2-4 now. This is the 7:30 game on ABC. You were talking about how the ABC night game has kind of been crap lately, and it continues. Ohio State.
Yeah, they must be doing something different. They must be trying to get that 4 o'clock window or that noon window more eyeballs. Ohio State. Yeah.
19.5 point line. 19.5 point line there, and it'll probably be pushing that. So Ohio State for me as well. And then finally, Illinois at Penn State, 23.5 is the line as of Monday evening in favor of Penn State. Illinois 2-5, Penn State 5-1. This is the noon game on ABC, the window that they really want the eyeballs on. They put Illinois there.
Would you believe me if I said I thought about it?
Do it.
Would you believe me?
No.
Because for a split second when I was making these picks, I thought about it.
No, you didn't.
No, you did not. I did. I'm not taking them though. Penn State. Penn State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's the picks. See if I can gain any ground.
I'm assuming. Are you taking Penn State?
Oh yeah. I guess I should probably throw that out there. Yes, I am taking Penn State. Oh, I am taking Penn State as well.
Great.
And I don't think it's going to be remotely close. Although storyline, we should have touched on it before. Illinois closed the season last year at Penn State on the same day that Bielema was hired. So kind of not really a full circle moment, but he was at that game last year, met the players for the first time. I don't know if he met the players for the first time, but he was there. I'm sure he did. Crap, what am I doing here? So that's something to keep an eye out for, I guess.
I don't know.
I'm trying to find the basketball rankings because we're moving into basketball now. Hey,
before we transition, I do have one football related question for you.
Okay.
Will you be going to the jersey retirement ceremony for Lamar Jackson at Louisville in November?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure if we're in town, I'll try and get tickets for sure. I don't think we have anything planned that weekend. Good call though. Yeah. Louisville announced that they're retiring Lamar Jackson's number. And last Saturday, I told you we went to the game, and I don't know what I saw number 8 on the field, and I was like, why is someone else wearing number 8? Like, it's like every time I think of it, like no Cardinal has ever wore number 5 since Pujols left. Like, why would you let someone wear number 8? That number is going to be retired. Like, get rid of it. So it's just weird that I thought of that. And then 10 days later, they're retiring his number. So yeah, the Syracuse game, I think in November 12th, maybe 13th.
I want to say the 12th. Yeah.
Something like that. So yeah, we talked to the people we go with, and I think we're going to go. I'm going to try and go to every Louisville game that I'm in town for. Just gives me something to do on Saturday that's not Illinois.
Will you be buying a Lamar Jackson jersey?
No, probably not. This week they host NC State, which I'm hoping to go to. My family might be coming this weekend to visit. We might try and go to that one. And then they're on the road, and then Clemson comes on the 6th of November. So that should be a good one. I think the Syracuse game's the blackout game, which could be cool as well. It was cool a couple years ago when they played Notre Dame. So as I was saying before Logan brought up Lamar Jackson, Illinois plays a basketball game this week. You know that, right?
I knew it was soon. Yes. I
believe it's Saturday.
Is it really this weekend? Yeah.
Okay. I believe it's Saturday, the 23rd, maybe. So
it is here.
It is here. You are correct. And polls are starting to come out. I should have had this pulled up, and I didn't. KenPom came out on Sunday night. I'm looking for the AP poll. I'm doing it on my phone so I don't use Wi-Fi, and it's not freaking working.
I have it up.
Okay.
What do you want to know?
I don't know. Just talk about it.
Well, I did have it up, but now it's loading. Yeah, Gonzaga was the near unanimous number one team. No shock there.
Yeah.
I expected UCLA to be high. I didn't know that they would be number two, but they did receive 8 first place votes.
I have a lot of thoughts on that.
Yeah, Kansas is 3. Kansas is Kansas. Villanova and Texas round out the top 5. Then you have a pair of Big Ten teams, Michigan and Purdue, 6 and 7. Reigning champs Baylor at 8. Then Duke at 9, Kentucky at 10, and your Fighting Illini at 11.
Let's dissect this. The top 10 plus 11.
I would love to.
We'll start with Illinois. Is that about where you thought?
I believe it was Brett that posted the poll earlier. It might have been Brett Behrens. I don't remember. Somebody posted a poll today asking where fans thought Illinois would be.
Yeah.
First option was 1 through 5. Second option was 6 through 10, so on and so forth. I believe I said 6 through 10.
Same.
So I don't feel like 11 is super far off. What I'm seeing from the national media is that there just seems to be some uncertainty and some lack of confidence in Illinois. I think the local media and the local Illini fans are probably a little overhyping things. And I think the national media are probably underhyping things. I think there's probably some sort of middle ground between what's real and what's being out there and what these different fan bases and different media conglomerates are saying. I would say Illinois is a top 10 team, probably somewhere 6 through 10, but as I said, 11's obviously not super far off from that. I'm not going to sit here and dissect all these teams and what they have back because quite honestly, I don't really know. Other than if you know a few of these, to be quite honest, after Gonzaga, I don't really know. I think it's kind of a crapshoot. UCLA had the run last year. They're returning an All-American. So that's probably why. Had Illinois won a couple more games last year and returned this same group that they have, they would probably be a little higher. I think that's really what's playing into this. Really, when you're comparing those two teams in particular, one that's 2 and one that's 11, I think that's really what this comes down to, is that Illinois faded out in the second round and UCLA made a Final Four run. So that's kind of my take.
Yep. I think if Illinois had gone to the Elite 8 Final Four, they're probably top 5. And I think had UCLA lost in the first or second round, they're probably maybe not ranked, maybe 20 or whatever. I think that them making it to the Final Four gave them about 7 or 8 spots here.
Yeah.
I think Illinois should be ahead of UCLA, Duke, and Kentucky. I think Illinois should be about 8. I think Duke and Kentucky are going all 3 of them are blue bloods, blue chip programs, and they're getting benefited of that here in preseason polls. But I don't see anything wrong with where Illinois is. It's more so that the national media is catering to these 3 blue blood programs that Duke missed the tournament. UCLA went on some magical run that they barely got in the tournament. And did Kentucky miss the tournament? Yes. Or did they get bounced? So 3 teams that missed the tournament last year, but our perennial powerhouses are getting the benefit of that here. But other than that, I'm not surprised by too much.
Ranking just the Big Ten, those 3, how would you rank them? The Michigan, Purdue, and Illinois. And they're 6, 7. I'm just talking in order. How would you put those 3 in your preseason poll?
I've got those. I'll tell you that in my Big Ten.
Are we saving that
here?
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
KenPom came out the night before, which would have been last night. KenPom came out yesterday on Sunday. Gonzaga number 1, obviously. Michigan 2, Kansas 3, Baylor 4, Illinois 5, Purdue 6, UCLA 7, Ohio State 8, Villanova 9, and Duke 10. So KenPom is a very good ranking system, I think.
I agree, and I love when KenPom has Illinois doing well. I'm not sure that I buy 5.
Yeah, but
I'm fine with somewhere between 5 and 11. I mean, I think that's kind of where I sit here. I mean, I think that these are 2 very, that's the range that I would expect, but I'm fine with it. Listen, Had you asked me 4 months ago what the status of Illinois basketball in the preseason polls would be, I would probably have said they'd be lucky to crack it. Just because we didn't know the situation with Kofi, and there was a lot of turmoil with the staff. So to even be in this situation, I'm thrilled. So we'll just say that. He
has, and KenPom is not a person ranking these. For those that don't know, KenPom is it almost where analytics started?
It's math.
It's based on numbers. It's not some dude saying, "Oh, they look good." Like, this is going off of the stats. Yes. And it updates every night. You can get on KenPom.com and you will see the rankings. You can't go anywhere else, or else you have to pay. But you can see the rankings. And right now it has Illinois 11th in adjusted offense and 2nd in the nation in adjusted defense. So a lot of that, I think, goes off of last year. And when you got Kofi protecting the rim and you got Trent Frazier back, guarding your best ball handler, that's going to help you. So number 2 in defense.
For the record, though, I mean, KenPom is a person.
Yes, but he's not. He's not right. It's not
his opinion. Yes.
Ken Pomeroy is the person that created these. Yes, but he is not. These are not his rankings. He puts them together and puts the numbers in, but the computer spits out these rankings. So getting to the Big Ten, I've got a list here of almost like projected finish here. What do you have?
You've done more than I have, to be honest with you. So
we'll just tell you, like, who do you think are the top 3 or 5? Who's your top 3 or 5 teams?
Well, I mean,
in order of finish.
Purdue, Illinois, Michigan.
Okay, I did not think you'd go Purdue.
Is how I think I would rank them, 1 through 3. I think that. Listen, Illinois is deep. And I think that Illinois has as good of a shot as any of those other 2 teams to finish at the top. There's just something about that. I don't know. I think it's probably Purdue that finishes at the top of the standings. Okay. Don't know that they're best built for a run necessarily. But in terms of Big Ten standings, I will take Purdue 1.
That makes sense. I forgot to mention one thing about KenPom. Trevor Valise from ESPN CU in Champaign, ESPN Radio 93.5 in Champaign. He went in and saw the game-by-game predictions from KenPom, which he does as well. That's one of those pay things that you can pay for, and you can get a lot more in-depth stats and stuff. And he does basically like a win probability type thing, and it spits out what the computer thinks the score of that game will be. And KenPom has Illinois starting the year 17-0.
I saw that.
Not losing a game until after January 17th. I think that's going to happen. No, I do think they can go undefeated in the non-conference, but there are games with Iowa, Michigan, and Purdue in there. And this projects a 79-78 win over Iowa on December 6th, a 75-74 win over Michigan on January 14th, and then a 77-74 win over Purdue on January 19th. So 2-3 really close games there. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. I have Purdue winning the Big Ten as well. I did not think you would go there. I thought you'd go to Michigan or Illinois, but Purdue returns everybody. They didn't lose anybody. And Jaden Ivey is a bona fide star in the making. Travion Williams is a great post player. Then they got Zach Edey, who's 7'4", like the tallest player in Division I. Sasha Stefanovic, sharpshooter on the – they have everything. And Matt Painter is a great coach. So I think Purdue is the favorite. And then Michigan and Illinois are really going to be battling. But I'm going to side with Michigan with the guys they got in the freshman class they have coming in. So I've got Purdue, Michigan, Illinois, and then Ohio State, Maryland, rounding out the top 5. For me, then
that's what I would go with.
The rest of them, I've got Indiana, Michigan State, Rutgers, Iowa, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Nebraska, Penn State, and Minnesota. That's that's how I think it's going to shake out. Is that right? Probably not. But that's where we're at. A couple new coaches in the league. Indiana under new leadership. Archie Miller's out. Mike Woodson is in, which we talked about on the show when it happened. I believe we discussed it a little bit. He played at Indiana from 76 to 80. He's got a lot of NBA experience. I think he's got 8 or 10 years of head coaching experience in the NBA. I don't know how much preseason stuff you pay attention to, but what do you think the talk is of Woodson now that he's had a couple of months in the job and the Indiana program's in his control?
I mean, they seem to be optimistic. I think he's got a good group. Certainly at least, one of the best players in the conference to work with. So I think they're certainly a top 6 or 7 team in the conference. I still don't really know much about him as a college coach. I think that's kind of where a lot of the question marks lie. But we'll just have to see. I mean, I think they're going to be fighting, for that middle tier probably after that top 5.
Yep.
I think that I would say the top 5 is pretty straightforward. At least the top 4. I think there could be some question marks after that. But after Michigan, Purdue, Ohio State, Illinois, whatever way you rank those 4, after that, I think it's kind of wide open. And I think Indiana could certainly be in that mix.
Yep, for sure. Other new coaches, Ben Johnson takes over at Minnesota after Richard Pitino was let go. Johnson graduated from Minnesota in 2004. He played 2 years there, but he also played 2 years at Northwestern before that. So he knows the Big Ten. And I was reading some stuff in the last couple of weeks. Every single player left Minnesota's program. He had to build an entire new roster. 0% of their scoring returns. No one is coming back. So they might be one of the worst Power 5, 6, whatever it is in basketball programs this year. So don't expect too much from Minnesota. And then Pat Chambers, you remember that story? Didn't he get fired like mid-season or right before the season started or something?
Yeah, that could be.
He got fired at Penn State last year, and they brought in Micah Shrewsbury. I don't know anything about him. I think he was an assistant at Purdue last year. But 3 minority head coaches in the Big Ten, which is pretty cool to add to the Big Ten here. I think that the top players are kind of cut and dry, don't you?
Yeah. I'd say it's about 5 post players and a guard or 2 that are kind of in that mix. I was gonna ask, who do you think ends up the player of the year in the Big Ten?
I think it depends on who wins the Big Ten. That's a great question. I could see it if it's not coming from Purdue, Michigan, or Illinois. I could see it being Trace Jackson Davis. I think he's going to have a 2010 year. I think he could be really good. But I think Kofi, Dickinson, or either Ivy and Williams are probably the favorites for that. I don't see it being anyone other than that.
You say EJ?
Yeah. Could be EJ too. But I just don't like EJ in that Ohio State system. And I don't know their roster. I don't know if they got a big, but I know he complained a lot about having to play the 5, and it throws him off, which would have been awesome if he would have came to Illinois. Like some of the rumors were, he would have been perfect, but neither here nor there for that. But
they would probably, the national media would probably still have Illinois outside of the top 10.
So I think that probably comes from that group of 5 of the 2 guys at Purdue, Dickinson, Kofi, or EJ, or I guess 6, because you got Trace Jackson Davis in there as well. I don't think Curbelo sneaks into it. I just don't think he puts up enough numbers. But
no, I mean,
I would go with Dickinson. I would go with Dickinson if I had to pick.
Yeah, that's fair. I would probably say Travion Williams.
Yeah,
but
he'll be a 2010 guy probably too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be. As I said, I think there's about 6 guys that are in that mix, and I think it's five post players and Jaden Ivey that are essentially, in the mix for that. And Ivy's probably the 6th of those 6, in my opinion. Yeah. So
who's a team from 6 on down that you think could sneak into the top 5?
Team from 6 on down.
Or 5 on down. 5 on down.
Should I pick your boy?
Who's my boy? Oh.
I'll go with your boy Brett Davison in Wisconsin.
Oh my God. I think they're going to be bad. I don't think they're going to be very good.
They could be. I mean, I think the answer to that is probably Indiana.
That's who I was going to say.
Just based on the talent that they have.
Yep.
I think that's probably the safe bet to answer your question. And Wisconsin could be bad.
I just think Greg Gard lost them.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Michigan State, I don't know. I'm just trying to go through other schools here. I mean, Maryland's got a lot of hype. They got Eric Ayala back, but they did lose some pieces. Yeah. They had a lot of hype preseason. I think they got his name's Fats Russell from Rhode Island, transfer. Indiana got Jackson Davis, but they lost some pieces. Michigan State got a Max Christie from Chicago. Could be one of the best freshmen in the league. Rutgers has Geo Baker back. That dude's been there for 8 years. It's insane. And also Ron Harper Jr. Michigan's freshman class is something to keep an eye on. Yeah, Caleb Houston's probably the best freshman in the Big Ten. Musa Diabate and Isaiah Barnes with Dickinson and Brooks. I mean, I almost want to say it's a Purdue-Michigan race, honestly, and Illinois is a clear third.
I think that's certainly on the table. I wouldn't rule that out.
Yeah,
I still like Illinois' depth, but I don't know. Yeah, I think there's something to be said about those other two teams having more talent overall.
Yep. Ohio State has to replace Dwayne Washington, a guard, and someone else. I think they have to replace both their starting guards. But EJ is back, and I think they got some transfers as well. This transfer thing, man, it's hard to keep track unless you have it written down, because I'm trying to do this off the top of my head, and I'm not thinking clearly right now of who went where. But yeah, we got basketball this week. Illinois and I think it's St. Francis, Illinois, a D2 school, maybe NAIA school. It's on Big Ten Network Plus, so you'll have to pay for a subscription if you want to watch it. But yeah, I believe Saturday night. I don't have the time or date or time or a tip on my phone pulled up, but I believe it's Saturday. So that time of year, man, we got some positive Illinois stuff to talk about. We're pretty excited about it. Probably dive more into Illinois and just kind of whatever comes to our head next week in the coming episodes. But anything else basketball or college related?
No, just Seth Davis.
Oh yeah,
posting his.
Do you want to quickly say what's team. Going on him for just a couple minutes?
Listen, maybe these people know more things than I know. He's not the first national pundit to not have Kofi Cockburn in his top 3 All-American teams. I just think it's ridiculous. So clearly there's something happening that they just, as I talked about earlier, the national media just doesn't see it. They don't have the confidence. Even Brennan's story in The Athletic that got posted last week was positive towards Illinois, but it was also in this strange tone of Illinois fans are confident in their team. Why? Kind of thing. I don't know. I think it's crazy to think that Kofi Cockburn is not one of the top at least 10 players in the country.
Yeah.
But whatever. We'll just have to see what happens. I mean, and I put this down on my notes because I wasn't going to ask you this, because we did see the ESPN's first top prospect or top draft list that came out last week. Curbelo cracked it. Kofi cracked it, but Kofi was like towards the very bottom of this 100.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, do you think there's a chance Kofi plays a 4th season in Illinois? Like, I mean, I'm just being honest. Like
with NIL, I think so.
Even if he has another All-American season, which I think is certainly possible. I mean, I think it's likely at this point, although some people don't agree, but I don't know that his
issue is that he's old for his age.
Yeah.
He's like 22 or 23 already. So
he's just not an NBA prospect. It's just not how the game is played anymore. So
I hear you.
I don't know. That was the question that I wanted to propose to you is Do you think he does? Do you think there's a chance that Kofi Cockburn plays a 4th season at Illinois?
Yes. Straight answer is yes. I believe there's a chance. I don't know that it'll happen, but we'll need to see how much he makes with NIL. If he makes a lot with NIL, I could definitely see him back. Yeah. So, all right. Baseball stuff. We talked about it. We had a full episode of it. Mike Shildt out as Cardinals manager, and we're starting to get a little bit of details as to what happened. The quote on, was it Thursday? I think it was Thursday that happened.
I don't remember. Oh yeah, that happened on Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah. The quote was philosophical differences. And I think it's pretty well known now that the Cardinals want to move more towards analytics, and Shildt was not having it. And he was kind of stuck in the old school. And I had this completely wrong on Thursday. Shildt was stuck in the Cardinal way, and the front office and ownership want to move away from the old school Cardinal way and move to this new school stuff. So when Shildt said, I don't want to do that, it came to a head, and they're like, all right, well, we'll find someone else that will do what we want them to do. And there was also a report. I get my St. Louis beat writers mixed up. It might've been Katie Wu or Derek Gold. I think those are my two of my favorites. I think it was one of those two. It might've been Buster Olney, actually. It might've been an ESPN story that said that opposing front offices heard that there might be friction back in mid-August. So even opposing teams had heard that there was rumblings and things weren't going so smoothly with the Cardinals back in mid-August. And it kind of came to a head at a team meeting the Saturday after the Cardinals were knocked out of the wild card game by the Dodgers. So it's kind of what I expected, but I had it flip-flopped. You know what I'm saying? I thought the Cardinals were pushing for their Cardinal way, and Shildt wasn't going for it, but it was the opposite. Shildt, who was brought up in the Cardinals organization and taught the Cardinal way, was stuck in that. And the Cardinals front office, John Mozeliak and Gersh and ownership want to go in a different direction, which leads me to believe that most of the current staff is staying on because they hired these guys. Ali Marmol, who was the bench coach that is a candidate, Jeff Albert, who's the hitting coach that everyone was hating on for most of the season. He's like he's the big analytics guy. So I would expect he's not going anywhere. I just hope he doesn't get the managerial job. But yeah, that's kind of where this is heading. Skip Schumacher's name is picking up a lot of steam. If they go that direction. all the guys that we mentioned Thursday are the candidates. Like that's who they're looking at. I don't think it's coming from anybody other than that. Marmol is
Joe Madden. Joe Madden.
No, I forgot. I texted you that. I forgot about that. I don't think that's happening. I don't know why you would leave Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani for St. Louis, but apparently he was on a flight to St. Louis and talked baseball. But that picture had a tattoo on his leg, and I don't think Joe Madden has a tattoo on his leg.
Well, he might, but
he might.
I don't. Yeah, I don't buy it.
Ali Marmol. Who is the other one? Stubby Clapp, base coach. Skip Schumacher, Carlos Beltran. I think the first three are named. I think it's going to be one of those three. I saw Mark McGuire's name thrown out because he has some coaching experience with the Cardinals and then left. But that's kind of where we're at with the Cardinals. Do you have anything to add of what you're seeing with the search and anything?
Nope. I'm not really surprised by any of this. And to be honest, I'm not really shocked by the whole analytical thing like you talked about. I think it makes sense. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that the Cardinals would decide we need to do this, go a different direction with some of this stuff because that's the way baseball is trending. So,
and I mean, just look at what happened. I mean, the Cardinals moved Paul Goldschmidt to the 2 spot in the order where a lot of teams are playing their most productive hitter. That's where they're putting him. And look what happened. 17-game winning streak. And when you get into that routine of same lineup every day, you see what happens. And Shildt was going with the Edman leadoff, Carlson second, who Carlson's a good hitter, but he doesn't consistently get on base, which is what you want from those top couple people in the lineup. So when you throw Goldschmidt in there and then O'Neill in the 3 spot and Arenado in the 4, that's when the runs really started coming. And that's due to the analytics, because Goldschmidt was the guy getting on base. So get him in the 2-hole, get him on base, and then guys start producing behind him. So we'll see what happens. I don't think this is going to take much longer. Next couple of weeks, I think they'll have their guy. I'm kind of hoping Skip, honestly. I'm kind of hoping Skip. I like Skip Schumacher. I think it'd be fun to have him back. And everything I've seen and read, people love him in San Diego, and he's done a great job there. So that was my concern.
Is he just not in the mix for that job?
I don't know. I did see Shildt is expected to interview for that job, though.
Good for him.
That's a good question. I don't know why he wouldn't be. Maybe he would rather come to St. Louis than stay in San Diego. I'm not sure. But that's a good thought. I forgot that they had an opening. But as far as the MLB postseason goes, the Braves are up 2-0, right? On the Dodgers?
Yeah.
2 walk-offs.
Didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
That series did not start the way I had expected that one to go. Happy for the Braves, though. I mean, would love to see them do it, but
I didn't realize they had not been in the CS in like 17 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
That's crazy, because they've been like one of the most successful programs of our lifetime. So, and then the ALCS, obviously there's a game tonight. So by the time this is released, it'll be different, but it's tied 1-1 going into Monday night. I thought that's supposed to start here pretty soon. Couple good series so far. I haven't watched a lot of baseball. Yeah. I watch football when it's on, so I haven't watched a lot of baseball, but a couple good series there.
Before you move on to this though, the Cubs did name a GM.
Yes, I meant to say that. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. Go ahead.
Theo Epstein left before last season, they elevated Jed Hoyer to the president of baseball operations position. They did not hire a GM, so they went through the whole season without somebody in that role. And this week they just announced Carter Hawkins is the new GM of the Cubs. He was with the Indians for the last 14 or so seasons, I believe. Held a different variety of roles with them. I believe his last title was assistant GM. Yes. Craig, do you have a question?
Are they still the Indians?
Well, no. Effective next season, they will be the Guardians.
Okay. When does that take place? That's what. When do I need to change my terminology here?
While he was with the club, they were still the Indians. But yeah, so don't know much about him. The Cubs were just looking to bring in somebody from the outside to help shake some things up and get a fresh perspective. This guy's, is pretty young. He's only 37, which not much older than you and I. And
we could do that
GM for the Cubs. So,
how old was Theo when he became the GM of the Red Sox? Wasn't he like 27?
So I don't know, something like that. They filled the spot, so hopefully he can help with some things. That the Cubs have just had a lot of issues with growing. They've grown they've grown some talent, but after that core, after that Bryant, Baez, Schwarber, Happ, Contreras group, they didn't really have much, and they've had no pitching. They have grown no pitching from the farm system to speak of. They traded for Kyle Hendricks. They acquired Yu Darvish in a trade. They signed John Lester. They got lucky with the trade for Jake Arrieta. They just haven't, they haven't done that. They haven't developed pitching, and the Indians have developed some pitchers in their system. So, hope it works out for the Cubs. But don't know much about them, but glad they filled that role and they can move on from that. So, all right, go on.
Good stuff. Big news.
Yeah.
For baseball in general. Jeff Passan reporting Sunday that major league teams are now required to provide housing to their minor league players, which has not been a requirement ever.
This is a
before.
huge step in the right direction.
And I don't know how it was in the upper minor league levels, but I know like we talked Southern Illinois minors a couple of weeks ago. And of course, Danville Dan's Logan worked with the single A. South Bend Cubs. And I know at the lower levels, they would have host families that you would stay with. How is it you have way more experience in this than I do. So why don't you just take the floor and say how it used to work and how it's going to work now?
Every club is different. I know that, the minors and the Dans, that stuff being like independent, summer league, that type of stuff. It's different. A lot of those use housing are host families. I know that some affiliated clubs were still using host families, but I don't think that was quite as common anymore. A lot of them, the situation is that this is the first step. They're still not getting paid enough. Let's just get that out in the open. Minor league baseball players are still not getting paid enough money, but at least now they won't have to worry about where they're going to sleep, because there have been stories, more and more stories surfacing the past few years of players that were stuck sleeping in their cars. If you go into an apartment of a minor league baseball player, and it's likely it would have been a small 1 or 2 bedroom apartment that about 6 guys were sharing, sleeping on air mattresses, sleeping on floors. If they were lucky, if they had that. And I don't want to go into all the logistics of it, but basically, like, they were provided with, like a hotel room for 1 night or 2 nights when they arrived to town, and then they're on their own to figure out where they're going to live. Some guys, had huge signing bonuses, so it's not a big deal. Other guys are barely getting enough money to live. So there was just a lot of problems with this. So this is a huge step for Major League Baseball and Minor League Baseball, that they're now at least going to provide housing. My question, and I haven't read into this enough, is, does there like a restriction on like quality of housing? Are some of these teams going to just put them in, not very good situations, or what? I don't know what. Every team's going to be different. I mean, I know with South Bend in particular, they have an apartment complex on the grounds at the ballpark. I don't know that that's what they'll use. I know some teams have something like that. But this is, as I said, this is a huge step in the right direction for minor league players who have been consistently underpaid and not taken care of. Guys were sleeping in the clubhouse. Guys were sleeping in cars. Guys were having to crash on the floors of teammates. Like it's not a great system. Let's be honest. These guys are coming into town, they might get called up and have to be, wherever. They might get called up in a road series, and then they're on the road for 5 days. Then they have to go play a home series, and they're expected to find where they're going to live. And it's not a conducive situation. So now the fact that, they're going to be providing this stuff is definitely a huge step in the right direction. Now they just got to work on paying these guys more money, more of a livable wage, because a lot of these players aren't not making enough money to really live. So, yeah.
Times are changing. People are, and organizations are coming around to that. Dawn Staley, I don't know if you saw this, the women's head basketball coach at South Carolina, just got an extension that she's going to make more than $3 million a year, which is right up there for a lot of men's coaches, which is awesome. Because South Carolina is a powerhouse. She deserves every penny of that. Nancy Faye, I think, makes about $620,000. She just signed a 2-year extension in 2020 that she'll make $645,000 in 2023, 2024. So she's probably making less than that now in comparison for that. But times are changing, and it's good things, especially for baseball here, providing all of this and just echoing what Logan said. It's a good move for baseball here. Anything other sports related, Logan?
I don't think so. NBA season starts this week.
NBA starts Tuesday. Yep. Starts tonight when this episode comes out.
Was sitting at breakfast yesterday morning with some of my family, and my dad, my uncle, my brother, and I decided we were going to do a fantasy basketball league this year. So got a group of family and close family friends together. So we have to draft that here soon, I guess. I just forgot about that. Going to be paying attention to a little NBA a little bit more this year than I have in the past. So
I canceled. Yeah. I disbanded my fantasy basketball league yesterday.
You were on my wait list. If we still need to fill spots at the last minute, I was going to give you a call. But yeah, so that starts this week. And as we talked about, college basketball is right around the corner, and football's in full gear. This is a great time of year for sports. I mean, hockey's going, and baseball playoffs. So it's wonderful. The other baseball thing though, go ahead. The other baseball thing though, is sounds like they're working on a streaming service of some type.
Yeah, I saw that
for all of Major League Baseball. So hopefully we can get rid of the stupid blackout restrictions.
I saw that's that. Cool too. The other thing that just popped in my head talking about college football there just now, Dickie V. Did you see this before we went on? Dickie V said, he's got lymphoma now. It's his second cancer diagnosis in recent months. The other one was a melanoma diagnosis. So Dickie V working through some stuff. I mean, I think it's fair to say voice of college basketball for us.
Oh yeah,
for sure. So hopefully he can make it through and fight through all this stuff. But we've been going for almost an hour and a half, I think. So we can probably shut this down. Not going to have time to get to, hour and 24. I don't have any hot takes for any TV, for any of my crappy reality TV that you like to call it. So we can call it a day unless you've got anything else, Logan.
No, I did not go see Halloween Kills this weekend. So I did see The Last Duel. It was fine. It was a little dark, but that's the conversation.
Is that the one with Affleck and Damon?
Yeah, Affleck and Damon wrote it. Damon, Affleck, Adam Driver, and Jodie Comer star in it. Really good movie. It's definitely a dark topic. Dune is this weekend, so hopefully I probably won't get to that by the time we record though. So that'll have to be probably 2 weeks. I'll probably talk about that one, but pretty excited for that movie. So
for those that didn't listen to our Cardinals episode, I went and watched No Time to Die last week.
Yep.
We did our review at the end of the Cardinals episode 36. So if you want to listen to that, go back and listen to the second, like towards the end of the Cardinals episode. No spoilers, I promise. There was a spoiler when we were taking that I edited out at Logan's request, and that was a mistake on my part. I was just talking, man.
We weren't really planning on talking about that. That was just supposed to be a Cardinals episode, and I just kind of dropped that on you at the last second, and you just kind of rolled with it, which was fine. But we should probably get that out of there. So, but yeah.
Long story short, entertaining action movie. I mean, it has everything a James Bond movie has, action and all of that. But a little long. That's about it.
What movie isn't long?
Exactly. All right. Almost an hour and a half here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, thanks for watching. Get this out there. Like, share, subscribe. We had really good feedback from our last episode with the Cardinals. We get the same feedback here. So share it with all your friends and see what they think. Logan, anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. We'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. That's episode 37 of No One Asked Us.
66 Days of Christmas. Bye.